CNN hosted a town hall for Elizabeth Warren, and there was a question that was just absolutely amazing. I am just shocked that CNN would let this question go through. Let's take a look at this video and then we'll talk about it.
My question is, Mississippi is a deeply red state and one of the poorest states in the country. Yet many white, poor, and working class citizens continue to vote against their economic interests. What message, if any, do you have that may resonate with them, that may encourage them to vote for you?
So thank you for the question, Christopher. Look, this is how I see it. Washington is working great. It's working fabulously for giant drug companies. It's just not working for people who are trying to get a prescription filled. It's working great for big oil companies that want to drill everywhere. It's just not working for people who see climate change bearing down upon us. It's working great for giant financial institutions and for payday lenders. It's just not working great for people who are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of a Washington that works for the rich and the powerful. I want a Washington that works for the rest of America. That's why I'm in this fight. And I believe on that Democrats, independents, and Republicans, they know a scam when they see it. And they see a Washington working for those guys. I think they're ready to get in the fight and get a Washington and a country that works for the rest of America. Thank you.
So our next...
What a great question. I want to read you guys this question one more time because I was just shocked when I saw CNN let this question go through. What message, if any, do you have that may resonate with poor and working class citizens and encourage them to vote for you? And he was specifically referring to Mississippi, which is a red state. How do you get those Republicans to vote for you? And Elizabeth Warren gave a really good answer. I'd rate it a 9 out of 10. I don't think she quite specifically answered the question, but she certainly gave a really good reason as to why Republicans are already going to vote for themselves, essentially. And so she said, listen, Democrats, independents, Republicans, they know a scam when they see it. And Washington is clearly working for the rich and not for the poor and middle class. So it's not we don't even really need to do anything other than run on a platform that benefits the poor and the middle class. Now, I would argue, I think she could have included in her answer that we need to educate those people. We need to consistently remind them, listen, you're poor or you're in the middle class and you're stuck there because the special interests, big oil, big pharma, big banks, they're working against you and they're making it so that it's really, really hard to become wealthy like them. And the rich and the middle class, they're separating. The super rich are getting more super rich and the poor are becoming poorer. And the middle class has been the middle class since the 1970s, meaning that we've had the same median income. Actually, I could be wrong about that. I believe it's the 1980s. But ever since Reagan, the median income has stayed the same. We see right through that. And here's the thing, guys. We haven't had a progressive run since before Reagan. We haven't had a real progressive since before Eisenhower. I would argue the last real progressive president that we had was FDR. And people knew exactly who FDR was. They loved FDR because he was running in the general election. They voted for him 4 times. He died in office. He literally died in office. So if you, here's the thing, and I'm going to give you guys an analogy. This is for all my Zelda fans out there. You guys remember Zelda Twilight Princess and how it was so similar to Zelda Ocarina of Time? So many people criticize Zelda Twilight Princess because it was similar to Zelda Ocarina of Time. Yeah, good. It's rated the #1 game ever. That's a good thing. Like, take the good stuff and do it again. Like, just keep doing that until it's no longer good. If the system works, keep doing it. And we haven't had that since FDR. Eisenhower came in and he basically ramped up the Cold War and just nuked the heck out of Nevada. And then, you know, all these corrupt presidents came in. Reagan came in with his trickle-down economics. And then after that, you know, we had Clinton as a Democrat. And he wasn't a Democrat. He was a Republican. He voted in favor of so many special interests because he was bought out. Washington has been corrupt ever since Reagan. And we have to acknowledge that we need to go back to the system that did work. And in that sense, we need to make America great again. But in that sense, we also need to make America great. Because there were so many things, so many legacies that FDR could have fulfilled while he was a president, but then he died. And those legacies never carried on. He was going to offer free schools and free healthcare. There was a list of 8 things he was going to give farmers rights. There was a list of 8 things that he gave before he died. He offered what's called the New Bill of Rights that gives every U.S. citizen the right to things like healthcare and so forth. And you had Norway at the same time offer free universal healthcare. Norway's had universal healthcare since the 1930s, guys. So you have to understand that we have to go to a system that works. And people recognize that now. People have recognized that. But the problem has always been, and up until this election period, it always has been, that the Democrats favor the establishment. And that's because the system is rigged. Washington is rigged. And we already know it. I guarantee you, if Bernie Sanders had won in 2016, he could have possibly won Mississippi. And think about it. Beto O'Rourke, as much as a lot of progressives are now giving him crap, when he was running against Ted Cruz, he almost won. Imagine how Bernie Sanders would do in Texas, guys. Texas. Bernie Sanders could potentially win Texas. Now, we're talking about, in this case, Elizabeth Warren. If she runs, I'd be okay with that. You guys have to understand. She's not as progressive as Bernie Sanders. I think she plays political games and does political calculations according to her advisors. And I think she needs to stop. I think she needs to go according to what the public want. And to me, playing political games is like one of the worst types of calculations you can make. But her answer was very decent, and I think we need to give her credit for that.